come on down to Lake Jesup, Florida, where you can witness Bonecrusher, the greatest gator that man has ever seen. The bone-crushing jaws of Bonecrusher are something you will never forget. For only 13 days in 2003, Bonecrusher will deliver action like you've never ever seen and you will never forget. Gator Lake, a.k.a. Lake Jesup, Bonecrusher's Revenge, God, that's a mouthful of a fucking title, is currently streaming on Tubi and also on Amazon Prime. And it was from writer-director Michael Houston King. This sounds like a name way too snooty to be involved in a Gator flick, but also he plays the mayor. And this is part drama, part dark comedy, and some Gator action. It's actually more of a family drama involving a man named Bubba. Not Big Bubba, there's no Bubba Slam, the Bubba Spike. No Bubba going on to a scaffold at Starrcade 1987 and not getting his proper payoff, and then going to the WWF to work with Hulk Hogan, the noted racist that he was, and get suplexed off a goddamn cage. Deep cut for wrestling fans, no. This is a man named Bubba, played by Derek, don't call me Vince Russo, who is a convict trying to clean up his life, trying to be there for his daughter and his grandson. And the way to do that is to get a pardon. And he can get that if he kills Bonecrusher. Ow. 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 God, I need to stop doing that. It's like doing the Vince McMahon impression in some videos. Anyway, so yes, there is a gator called Bonecrusher that escaped from somewhere called Gator Galaxy. No, it's not an interdimensional portal where gators are floating around in space, or gators have the sentience of the dolphins from that one episode of the Treehouse of Horror from The Simpsons. This is Bonecrusher. He's got a taste for human flesh, and now he's basically devouring people in Lake Jesup. I used to know a guy named Oliver Jesup. I wonder if he's doing well. He's not in this. So, by the way, Sarah Voigt, I believe it's Vought, who was Barbara in Terrifier 2, plays Lainey, and also we have a guy named Louise, Danny Nucci, and, yeah, we have, not much Gator action. Actually, that's kind of the crazy thing about this. Like, I think Devilfish had more, like, silly action in it than this did, but then again, that probably had a bigger budget. Look, the movie's inoffensive. It's not terrible. It's not great, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure everybody had fun with it. And there are outtakes at the end, that, as opposed to outtakes at the beginning, where if they had put that kind of tone in the movie, I actually would have appreciated it. Not having outtakes, but just having a little more fun with the fact that it's another Gator movie. This is way better than The Bayou, do not get me wrong, because at least it's got a few halfway decent moments and a hilarious end, at least a hilarious end to me. But, whatever. Inoffensive Gator flick is what it is. Not that awful, but honestly pretty dull. So, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Basically, Angus, not McLeod. Jeff Bennyhoffen. Just sounds like a mixture of a German and Benihana bit, but he owns Gator Galaxy. It turns out that he actually has ties to something from Bubba's past, which is, I'm just going to say right now because fuck you, it's a spoiler section. Bubba had a wife, that wife died, and that is because Angus was feeding people to Bonecrusher. Why? Because why not? Why not at this point? Drive up tourism, or just because stupidity, just because silliness, they need some kind of villain other than Bonecrusher. So yeah, during 13 days in 2003, people just had to make sure to stay out of the water. Nobody stayed out of the water, though. The Gator doesn't really do that much. I mean, that's kind of the funny thing, and I know the movie's low budget. But still, there's a $10,000 reward. Well, that causes 2 hillbillies to get killed immediately. And, yeah, then we basically just get Bubba's backstory. Angus was the one that screwed him over. Delaney was somebody that knew the wife Mary and wrote him letters because Mary's letters kept him going and that kind of stuff. And I did note Sarah said, well, she's rocking those jean shorts pretty nicely. And she said, you know what? Do me a favor. Don't get your ass killed tomorrow. Well, Bubba doesn't die. People die, but they mostly die off camera. And the acting isn't necessarily terrible, but it's not really great because it's a Gator movie that I don't think could find the right tone. I mean, I'm not even saying that as somebody that was just in kind of an mood when they watched it. Like, this really just didn't have a proper tone. So Dusty, Angus's son, dies because he's stupid and he goes out with a blonde that certainly would make people go adventurous and everything. But that blonde just basically gives a silly little news report after Dusty is dragged away. The Gator has his layer of victims, body parts and stuff like that, and that's visited once. We do not actually go further into that. And Monica's a news reporter, and she ends up getting killed after flirting with Angus. And I bet Angus's wife would have absolutely loved that. So Angus just doing this for silliness and whatever. Dusty was alive briefly, but Bubba couldn't save him. And then Angus is hanging out with another girl named Kitty, who's in shorts. But then, basically, after talking to Louise, an old friend of his who's now a life coach, Bubba decides, I'm going to take revenge and get Angus. And he basically uses Angus as bait and uses an exploding crossbow to destroy Bonecrusher. No, really, it's an exploding crossbow. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's one of the few times the movie comes alive. And then he signs a paper to get a pardon. That was basically the deal. He killed Bonecrusher because now other Gators are dead, except Offspring, because now we've gone away and the Offspring are still around. So it seems like Angus, he realizes the error of his ways, or part of the deal was he had to step down and give his Gator Galaxy stuff to Bubba. So Bubba's running this as a nice park where they take care of the Gators and they take care of it, whatever. It's fine. He falls for Lainey. She falls for him. They're going to get together. And then we get the outtakes. And then we see the Gator Offspring are still around. So maybe we get a sequel. I don't know why. Again, inoffensive. A couple halfway decent moments, but often boring. I didn't hate it, but I certainly can't give it anything other than an F, because I end up being bored by it. That being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland. Until we go to Bonecrusher's land again, happy trails to you.